Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of D&D CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Ogre from the Monster Manual 2025 edition. This was a request, I guess, from someone, I don't remember, it's been a while. In any event, let's jump right into this monster and take a look at if it's been updated, if it's been fixed, if it compares to the old version, or who knows, maybe it actually is a CR2 monster. And since we've already covered that, let's go ahead and drop that into our expected CR and start from the top here. So we are looking at 11 AC. This is a large monster. We only use that for the fact of correctly updating the hit points here. So we need 8 hit dice for 8d10. And then from that we have the following stats of 19 strength, 8 dex, 16 con, 5 intelligence, 7 wisdom, and 7 charisma. From there, we can pretty much skip everything else up here and also here. It's nice to see that, you know, gears being calculated or added into the stat sheets, and we basically just jump right down into the action. So our giant ogre here basically only does one thing. It either swings with its great club or throws a javelin. And as I tell my players after the fact of how many javelins did it have, exactly as many as it needed. So, you know, we can either use the javelin or the great club here. We are looking at a +6 to hit, so we will see that the +6 is coming from our strength bonus, and we can go ahead and add that into our attack bonus area. And we'll go and just add in our attacks. So our first attack is going to be the great club at 2d8 or 13 total damage, and it's going to be an even 13. We don't have to worry about a half die because it's an even number of dice. Bludgeoning damage, that's about it. We don't really care about anything else. Then we do have the javelin here of 11 damage, or, you know, 2d6 plus 4. And we could, in theory, average this out if we wanted to. Since the attacks are both the same, we could just say, okay, 12, in case we switch back and forth. It doesn't really matter. You know, this would be the best way to show, like, maybe we throw a couple javelins first and then the ogre is able to get in there, even though they have 40 feet of movement and can get, you know, pretty much right up to the players pretty darn quick. They are not the smartest, and I was thinking maybe I'll bring back the battle tactics, not necessarily as shorts, but as videos, and we can go through this kind of a lot slower than my 1-minute videos that I was doing a while back. And if anyone heard that cat cry, that was my cat, Pumpkin. Alright, so with that, we're going to go ahead and just drop the 12 damage into the concentration area, because the concentration is basically a spell that we would be concentrating on every round of combat and expecting damage from that spell to be applied every round. So I like to use concentration here in my tool as that one-stop shop thing right there. So we'll just go ahead and throw 12 in. And surprisingly, it looks like we are underrated. We've got 68 hit points, we have 11 AC, and our damage is where it should be, although the hit points are not. So, oddly enough, it's looking like either A, we need to adjust the AC and give this giant beast more, because technically, at the moment, it's just naked. In theory, it has a loincloth on, and Lord have mercy, hopefully it does have a loincloth on. But if it doesn't, okay. Otherwise, we can just, you know, jack the hit points up and bring this up to a, you know, to a CR2 that way, and then we'll have ourselves basically like a soldier-style ogre. But in theory, especially since our strength is so high and our dexterity is so low, this guy should be just a massive powerhouse. So likely what I will do is definitely keep the AC low, jack the hit points up, and also increase the damage. And we can increase the damage by either, you know, increasing the number of dice, giving it force damage, or some other kind of maybe necrotic damage. Maybe the mace and the javelin are completely gross and just fetid with disease. You know, maybe they use it to cook creatures with, and they're not washing their tools, and it's just roiled with bacteria and viruses and whatnot. So we could say, oh, disease damage, you know, whatever, and we could add it in that way. So let's go ahead and mess with that there. And since our average damage anyways 12 with the highest is a 13, we still won't push over into that next area. So let's go ahead and say we want to get up to a CR2. Let's give ourselves, we'll say 12 might be too much. Let's start with a 10. We'll say 10 hit dice. And that's bringing us up to a 1, which is good. That's pretty much where well, it actually brings us to a CR1/2. I'm sorry. This is a 1, so we still need to go up. So my initial thought of 12 probably is correct. Wow, actually that's too much. All right, let's go back to 11. There we go. So we have a CR1 basic, or a defensive CR of 1 for our hit dice here. Even though our hit points are up high, our AC is 2 points lower, which reduces our defensive CR 1 track down. And then we need to add in more damage because our 2 hit is already more than enough. We're expecting an attack bonus of 3. We have a 6, which is a 1-point shift. We want to bring this up. I'd say bring this up to a 3, so it's doing more damage and acting like a CR3 monster for damage, but acting like a CR1 in defense. We want to get it up to at least 15 to 20 damage. So if we added maybe a D4, no, well, let's see here. We're at 12. Now we need to add at least a D6 of necrotic damage. So let's go ahead and add that in. So our first die here, going off of our Great Club and Javelins on the side, it's a, 2 D8, plus we're using Strength. And we also are doing the same over here. So we have 2d6 plus strength. Let's add in a 1d6. So all of our dice are going to be the following here. Or our attack damage, I should say. That plus the necrotic damage, you know, diseases and whatnot. Got that. And we can just average out the 2 this way. I mean, the average is going to be, you know, like 15.5 or whatever. Take those 2 numbers right there. Yeah, 15.5, that's what I figured. Okay, and sure enough, there we go. Now, our ogre is a CR2 monster. I mean, this was such an easy video to do, I had to go through the processes of fixing it. So there you go. We'll give it 3 more hit dice and give it a d6 of necrotic damage. You could change it to whatever you want. Maybe it's poison damage. Maybe it's got weirdly enchanted weapons that only last while the ogre is alive. Maybe they have some kind of special pendant that when the ogre dies, the pendant breaks and they no longer have fire damage on their weapons. You're the DM or GM, you decide how you want to do it. In any event, there we go. We have ourselves technically a CR1 ogre that is very overrated, and we can easily fix it by giving it 3 more hit dice of damage, or of hit points, bringing it up to an average of 93 from 68, and an extra d6 of damage to both weapons. Alright, and with that, if you like what I'm doing here, and you too would like to get this tool, you can do so completely for free at my Ko-fi page, link in the description below, where you can also grab actual, real, new classes for D&D. A bunch of subclasses, some are kind of silly and fun, some are very serious, and monsters, as well as some other items if you use Foundry VTT. Other than that, you can support the channel by becoming a member here on YouTube or becoming a Ko-fi supporter over there at Ko-fi. And you can also, you know, like, subscribe, comment, and share the videos. So anything helps the channel, and I really greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.